the age of 60 with $1 million in super. That's one of the examples I often get. And today I want to take you through a real life example. I've got a couple here in their 60s wanting to spend 80 grand a year and retire. Is it enough? Let's jump into it. Let's look at the real numbers. So here's John and Mary, $1 million in super, own their own home, no debt, want to retire now, spending $80,000. Does that money last? Great news, it does. Let me talk you through this chart. And it happens in a few stages. These green bar and the orange bar is what they're spending every year. You can see it lasting. From the stage here from 60 to 67, they're relying upon their own super. They're too young to get the age pension. So this is drawing $80,000 a year out of their super. That's how they're funding their retirement. Whether it's his super or her super, that's to be decided. But either way, combined, they're drawing 80 grand a year. This blue area, the shaded area, that's the value of their super. And it's going down over time. And that's okay. They're living on it. That's what super's meant to do. You're meant to enjoy it. You can't save for a rainy day. You've got to spend it along the way. At 67, this is where things start to get interesting. Some age pension starts to kick in. They're eligible for a part pension based upon these calculations. The super's reduced from $1 million, maybe down to $670,000, but they're not getting a full pension, they're getting a part pension. Now, excitingly, they're still spending the $80,000, but only about $50,000 now has to come out of their own super. $30,000 is coming from the government. Plus, ideally, they're getting some government incentives as well as part of that. That changes over time. If their super continues to reduce, well, their pension continues to increase. And a few years later, the government's giving them $40,000 and they're still taking $40,000 out of their super. Now, this is in today's value. It's been adjusted for inflation. So $80,000 in the future will be more and they'll be spending more. It's converted back to today's dollars spending. Also allowed a 60-40 allocation, a balanced profile, and certain assumptions upon returns and those kind of things in this chart projection. And this shows it's sustainable. They're getting, let's go to the end, life expectancy into the late 80s. They've still got money inside of super. Maybe it's down to $200,000, but probably they're not spending as much at that point in time. It still assumes they've got their house. They're still in their house as well. So that's an asset that's not calculated here. And importantly, they're not running out of money. That's the exciting bit. Are these people going to retire? Yes. But there's a few elements here. Obviously, the $1 million is a key part. What they're spending is a key part. And knowing this, it planned retirement. If they had to fund themselves the whole way through, it wouldn't last. But also how much they're spending is also an important part of it. Let's say, for example, we change this down to $70,000. The projection updates. The money lasts. In fact, it lasts longer. Well, they're not running out. In fact, later in life, they've still got a lot more than they might have closer to $500,000 in today's dollars left over. They're probably going to get less pension because they've got too much in super. Let's go the other way. What happens if they want to spend $100,000 a year? Is that doable? And the chart's updating. By the time they get to 67, their super's down to $500,000 and below. They're probably getting more pension, but this shows that that's not sustainable. As a couple, they would run out of any cash, any super. That's the red bits here. That by the time they get to the late 70s, they run out. They'd be still getting the government pension, a full pension at that point in time, but that's a big gap compared to the $100,000 they might want or need. Lots of different scenarios. What I typically like to recommend for retirees is to front load their retirement. And this might be the right balance for these people. Let's spend $100,000 for the first 10 years, and then we've done all the travel later in life. Let's spend $70,000 a year ongoing after that. So you can see there's different ways to set this up for people, but is $1 million enough to retire in Australia today if you're 60? That answer is yes. Now, don't take advice just upon this video. It's important to kind of understand your figures. There's complicated stuff around moving money into super, setting up investment advice, what's the right way to set up your super fund. All of these things are relevant to know, but $1 million can go a long way if it's set up the right way into your retirement. Where to from here? It's important to know your numbers, where you're at, where you're going. Maybe you've got enough already today. Maybe you don't. Maybe you need a bit of a plan. Maybe it's important to start earlier. We love doing these kind of videos. Jump onto our website at Financial Edge Group. If you want to know your numbers and want us to put some advice together for you, you can book in an initial complimentary call. If not, jump on. We've got many more videos on YouTube. Go find us on Facebook and follow along, because what we want to do is make sure your retirement set up the way you deserve it to be.